Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, this channel is all about embracing your truest, most authentic self, being confident in that, and living out your life to the fullest. If you're returning, thank you so much for being here. What we're going to talk about today is how to listen to your inner child. I kind of talked about this in my last video, and if you have not watched that, go back and watch my last video, but I kind of talked a little bit about and got into what I would be if there was no outside influence. So if, I never went to school, there was no social media, if I didn't have all these existing conditioning around who I am and the experiences that I've had up until now, who I would truly be, what I would be like, what I would be interested in, what I would look like, what I would feel like, who my friends would be, or who I would surround myself with. And a lot of times I try to think back up to who I was as a kid and what my interests were, what I was passionate about, and I try to be more in tune with that because a lot of our conditioning starts happening around the age of 6 or 7, where we start to, get into school and, be influenced by our teachers, our friends, and try to fit in a sense. So a lot of who we are as kids is who we truly want to be and who we identify most with. And it's still there inside, but we just have not lived that way in such a long time because we've been so conditioned to live the way that we think that others want us to live. So I asked a few of you what you were like as kids. So I'm going to share with you a couple of these entries. Some of them are fun. Okay. Someone writes, I wanted to be a backup dancer for Janet Jackson. Didn't we all? I would love to be a backup dancer, or a dancer for that matter. Always doing projects and creating without worrying about it turning out awful. I love that. See? Now, if I create anything, I'm worried about posting it on social media or showing someone something because I'm afraid they're going to judge me. But I started a YouTube channel, so. I loved being outside all day as a kid. Me too, I still love being outside all day. It's just such a great feeling when you come home and it's like 9 p.m. the sun's setting in the summer and you're like, I'm so tired. And it's such a good tired because you were outside and you smell like fresh air. So weird. I loved playing by myself. Same, that's the only thing I could do because I was an only child. Loved being in the woods, playing in the dirt, in a creek, and camping. Also loved the beach. A lot of people saying they like being outdoors. I used to make magazines with glitter and have them laminated. LOL. Oh, I love that. I always wanted to be just like my dad. He's so successful, but he is so grateful and loves life, and it inspired me to go into a similar work field. And I know her, and she is in that work field, so good for you, girl. That's awesome. I loved drawing and coloring and making paper airplanes and building things with Legos. I feel like I know this person and they still love creating things, so that's amazing. I played outside all day after school. I never really wore shoes. Boy crazy, definitely a tomboy, but also loved Barbies and American Girl dolls. I wanted to be more girly, but never felt like I could be. Maybe that's a masculine, feminine energy that you need to work on. So then I asked some people what they wanted to be when they grew up and then what they are now, just to kind of see how things have changed over time. So one writes, chemist like my mom, and now she's a nurse. Amazing, this girl's killing it. One person writes architect, and then they are now a graphic designer / art director. So I think you're still creating things, which I think is amazing. This person writes a dolphin training magician, like Siegfried and Roy, but with water animals. Honestly, I love that. I think you could do it. This person writes president. I think that's a dream of a lot of people. I wanted to be Al Roker from the Today Show. Honestly, I love Al. Love him. And then she writes, still my dream to be a guest on the Today Show, but she's going back to school to become a registered dietitian. Maybe you could be a registered dietitian on the Today Show. I'm about it. We had 3 people say they wanted to be a vet. That's some people knew it as kids, and now I hope you all have pets. I wanted to do something in fashion or interior design as a kid. Now I get to develop product and launch beauty products and fragrance for work. And I put my passion of interior design into my apartment with my carpenter boyfriend. Yes, that's an amazing hobby. Someone writes, I wanted to be an actress and now I work in IT. Ha 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 ha. Honestly, I feel you. I thought it was going to be on Disney Channel for sure. The theme, it sounds like a lot of people wanted to be something creative, or they were creative, or they just kind of didn't care, frolicked and played outside. Thank you for people who answered. This has been a really fun activity. I asked my mom, what was I like as a kid? What were my interests, hobbies, behaviors? What did I want to be when I grew up? And I told her, I was like, I think I know the answers, but I just want to hear from your perspective. This was her answer. She says, you were bubbly, happy, smart, social. Gas me up, girl. Wanted to learn. She said, you're still the same. Thank you so much. She's the only person that would say this. You loved making an ingredient, which was like a recipe or making something to eat. Crafts, playing school, dancing in all caps with lots of exclamation points. You loved music, friends, theater, and dressing up. So true. Still do. You wanted to be a Kmart lady and work the cash register. I knew she was gonna say that. You were pure energy. So I knew she was gonna say the thing about the Kmart worker because I loved the thought of like scanning things when we would go to the store and they would like go boop. I thought that was so fun. I just wanted to do it. Honestly, didn't think past that at the point. I just thought it looked fun. I literally thought I was gonna be an actress when I was growing up. I would perform in front of my mirror in my room constantly. Like I would act out scenes. I would reenact scenes from Disney Channel. I would perform and like dance and sing and act out scenarios and pretend someone else is in the room and literally like bounce off of them or play both people. And now looking back on it, I'm like, was that just because I was an only child and I was bored? I just loved theater, I loved musicals. I've always loved music. I loved The Sound of Music growing up. That was one of my favorite movies. Loved High School Musical. Like that was like my jam. Like I learned every single dance, would make all of my friends learn the dances. Me and my cousins would always we would like write plays and make up musicals and like dance to things and perform for our family. Like that's just always where I felt the most happy. And now like when I'm dancing and listening to music and like just even by myself, like that's when I feel the best. I feel like I'm in my own music video. And I was in musicals growing up and I was in choir, I was in band, but that lasted like 2 seconds. I was in drama club, acting club, took acting classes, like literally the whole kit and caboodle. Always wanted to do that and legitimately thought I was gonna be on The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. No doubt. So yeah, anywho, anytime that I kind of am looking to make a decision, I always wonder what would, 6, 7-year-old Delaney do? And this is something I'm starting to try and get more in tune with. All of our conditioning can kind of fog our decision-making process, and oftentimes we make decisions for other people rather than ourselves, or we make them because we think they're a good idea. A tool that you could use, just start asking yourself the question, what would the child me do? And this is just kind of a good habit to get into. You can frame it differently. Like you might say, what is my inner child saying to me? What is little Delaney saying to me? What is true Delaney saying to me? Or, anything that works for you might be, a good step to take when you are trying to trust your gut and your intuition. So, another way you could look at this is really just trusting your gut. Question for you. When you think of yourself as a child, what do you think of? Who do you picture? Is there a specific picture that comes to mind? Is there a specific energy type or memory that comes to mind? For me, when I think of myself as a child or when I was most in tune with who I was, before the world started conditioning me, this is who I think of myself as. I remember being grown up enough to understand things, but also so young, as you can see from the picture, that I still was so guided by intuition and wants and desires and needs and who I wanted to be that I just kind of didn't care. I really felt like I just knew who I wanted to be and I didn't really care, but I also didn't know enough about the world to stop me. Write them in the comments down below. What were you like as a kid? What comes to your mind when you think of, yourself as a kid? The inner child, if you've ever heard this term before, is actually something that is used in therapy. A few ways to get into or get more in tune with your inner child is to, number one, ask people that you grew up with or that were a little bit older than you when you were a child. So cousins, aunts, uncles, friends, obviously parents, grandparents, what you were like as a kid. Ask them, what your desires were, what your interests were, what your hobbies were. Ask them to recall memories for you and tell you stories about what you were like. Number two, you could also look through pictures and find ones that stand out to you or ones that don't. When you find ones that stand out to you, recall what that memory felt like. Ask people about pictures that you don't really remember. You could also try and journal out your whole life. That obviously takes a lot longer, so may not be for everyone, but thinking about every single step of your life from start to finish, or not finish because it's not over yet, but start until now. And just try and recall good things, bad things, things that shaped you. Think of a world where we all acted like our truest, most childlike self. How happy would the world be if we all just truly lived the truest form of ourselves? I think that would be so incredible and beautiful. And, obviously no one is going to be perfect and the world is never going to be perfect. But I think it would be so incredible if everyone trusted their childlike instinct. This would be me all the time. I'd be like, this practice is really, simple, but it's just something I wanted to bring to your attention because I feel like this is at the core of what this channel is really about. And I really just want to encourage everyone, including myself, to be you, to just show up fully and be unapologetic about that. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you will come back next time. If you liked this video, please like down below, subscribe, and give us a comment. And I look forward to seeing you next time on Happy Scampers.